This is Sterling Series, Flourishing Families. I'm your host, Tony Karls, and today I have the privilege of sitting down with George Schmidley, President and founder of Affiliated Financial Advisors here in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. George, I'm super excited to sit down with you today and learn more about the importance of family financial health and independence over the long term.
Well, first off, thank you for inviting me. It's a very important topic. I've spent over 30 years in the field.
When a family really starts to think about financial planning and independence over the long term, where do they start? Where does that process start?
Great question. Some have an adverse avoidance. It's uncertainty. Some people get anxious around financial planning and don't know where to start. I love working with those people. I ask them where they're at, what they've done, and they don't even know. And I know how to create that starting point with people. I would say two things. First is to identify where that client, or they can identify where they are at along the investment life cycle.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is when you're young, perhaps in your 20s and 30s, you're wanting to accumulate assets and you want to establish the plan. Okay. Hopefully by your 30s, your 40s or 50s, you have some semblance of assets, and then you're going to see if the goals and parameters are in reach or if they need to be adjusted.
Okay.
Your risk tolerances change as you approach retirement, and you go from accumulating assets to distributing. So the first thing I identify is this is such a customary process is where my client or where that individual is along the investment life cycle.
Where are some of the families financially when they first come in? Like, what does their portfolio look like? Is there big holes?
Well, that's such a different question for everybody. I have over 600 clients. Sometimes you've got to do triage.
Yeah.
You know, they've gone through bankruptcy, or they have debts. Sometimes they've had an unexpected, divorce, and now they're starting over in a process. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they're in transition. They've switched jobs. They've had health crises. So there's sometimes they've created an inheritance. Okay. So it really depends on it, point that they're trying to engage in our services here, but we can meet them where they're at on that, and there's no embarrassment. Everybody has to have a starting point, and one of the things we do, frankly, at our firm here, it's part of our community outreach, is we don't have a investment limit that's a ceiling or a low bar people have to have in order to come in here.
So what are some of the mindsets of those people when they come in for that first time, when they're first getting started? Where are they emotionally? How are they feeling about the process, and how can you walk through that?
I think that's a great question, Tony, and it varies. I would say it falls into two camps. One would be the client that has an aversion to finances, or it's just not their area where they've spent their time in life in. We all wear a hat in this world. Right. So it could be in another occupational area that I don't have expertise in, but I know this. And I would say the other camp would be there's too much information out there. Okay. And they've heard it, they've read it, they're probably on a little overload, which we can get today with internets and 24 hours cables and the experts and books and stuff. So they're looking to cipher through the fog to get to the fundamentals of what's the right plan for them.
So what are some of the services that you offer here at Affiliated?
We do comprehensive planning, and it's very important to distinguish between investment management and financial planning, and we do both. That's the breadth of the planning. Investment management fits within the planning process. Yeah. So besides, again, identifying the planning goals, which are numerous and vary between individuals, we act as a fiduciary, which means that our advice and recommendations, our client interests are always put first. And there's been a lot written about fiduciaries and the importance of that in the investment media. So besides planning, investment management, that has to be coordinated with tax efficiency. We offer tax preparation and planning for those clients that want to take advantage of it. Okay. We also do a lot of estate planning, including with law firms and Again, people come to us in a variety of situations, including crises, divorce, okay, unexpected deaths and things. So we have to comprehensively look at where they're at in their life and what's going on or what they're going to be entering into. Health crisis for nursing home is another one that comes to mind.
From your perspective, what are some of the dangers of a family not seeking the help of a financial advisor as it relates to trying to become financially independent over the long term?
Well, I can think of several. Not having a good plan. And some clients come in here with a variety of knowledge, and some can select investments in their 401k at work and have a customer service line, but that doesn't mean they have a plan, and that doesn't mean they're measuring goals. So it's sort of like a physical trainer when working out. Somebody's going to push you, somebody's going to help you actually write a plan, check in with the plan periodically, and make sure you hit those markers that you're doing instead of just making one-time investment selections and things. So that's one of the pitfalls, is to have a plan executed, not get off the train during down markets, not take too much risk, not react on emotion, okay, minimize your financial losses. And sometimes it's not, failure in planning is not necessarily a complete failure. Like we think of bankruptcy, sometimes it's a failure of opportunity.
Right.
It's a failure of opportunity to have more tax-efficient growth, for instance. Okay, a financial advisor is a partner in the process. So there's an obligation for the clients to do, to hold up their end. Okay, find discretionary funds, minimize credit and things of that nature. So it's a partnership. I do a lot of education as a part of the planning process, so clients understand what they're doing, why they're doing. It's interesting, after a couple of years they grasp the concepts, and it's actually empowering. It's a empowering relationship to have, to work with a good advisor and have that educational component also, and bring that confidence to the planning process.
George, you used the term partner a little bit ago, and you said that a financial planner is a partner in that relationship. So when determining services from a financial planning firm like Affiliated Advisors, what should they be looking for? What are some of the things that they should consider? What's the criteria that you would advise people to really look for out of a financial firm when they're going through that process?
I would look for independent planners. I would look for a planner who's a fiduciary. Experience says a lot. And ask the advisor you're interviewing that question. And they can provide information of the different planners out there and the different philosophies, and draw from their own experience of what got them to this point.
So when a client's been working with you for a while and they've been engaged with you and they've been a partner and they've followed some of the advice that you've given them, what does that look like? How does it differ from when they started, and how does that feel for them, and what does that look like for them financially?
Well, usually the beginning of the relationship is the interview that we're talking about, and then the engagement of the planning process. It's usually a little more interactive for the first year or two, and it can be re-engaged depending on what happens in people's lives. But it does get to the point where there's monitoring going on. Everybody's on the same page, so there's not all the explanations and questions. And then it's a matter of making sure like we hit the markers and the goals, and that's a little less interactive process than in the beginning. And things come up also afterwards as life changes come up. But it does get to be more relaxed. I think of the words peace of mind. I think of the words trust. I think of the words confidence. So we bring that to people's personal financial planning in their own lives, and they settle into that. And we're always available for questions, and they know that.
George, thank you so much for sitting down and talking with us today. Really appreciate your time and your willingness to educate us and our audience about the importance of financial planning and financial independence over the long term. For people that are interested in learning more about you and kind of the services that you provide, how can they connect with you?
Our firm, Affiliated Financial Advisors, is located in the Mayfair area at the Mayfair North Tower. I would encourage people to take that snapshot, engage with an advisor. We offer a free introductory appointment to take that snapshot, identify where they're at in the planning cycle, and learn about some fundamentals, Our phone number is 414-476-4999, and we welcome everybody.
Awesome. Thanks again, George. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Tony.
Flourishing Families is a sterling series where we will explore concepts related to healthy communication, family time, fiscal responsibility, emotional support, health and wellness, personal responsibility, and living a purpose-driven life. Please like and subscribe. We hope these stories are enriching and provoke ideas as you strive to build a strong family.